Hello, my name is T, and today I'm going to be talking about my nursing journey, or at least up until now. I actually start my first semester in nursing in a couple days, and I wanted to get on here and really talk about how I started. I actually started with a 1.7 GPA, and now I'm in a program. So I wanted to really create this video to encourage people because I know when I was going through it, I wanted somebody who was going through the same thing and who actually made it, who saw that light at the end of the tunnel. Now, my journey is just beginning, so I haven't quite seen the light, but I just want to talk about up until now. And if you hear any noise, for some reason outside we're having like a wind issue, and then there's like maintenance going on in the other house over there, so just excuse that. But anyways, um when I was in high school, my freshman year in high school was horrible. Like, I was just so distracted. I don't even think I made a B that year. I started off with really C's, and I made a D in math. And so, that wasn't going to work. Um so sophomore, junior year, I made mostly A's and some B's, and then my senior year I made straight A's. Um and so my senior year was really a pivotal point in my life. I went to a private Christian school, and so it was strict. I graduated with 22 people. Yes, 22, and yes, we were accredited. Um, but it was just a large transition from going to 22 people, these are the only people you know, to like a couple thousand people. And so when I first um, went to college, my freshman year, I went to a university, and I did not do well. Well, let's roll back. Let's go back to the summer before freshman year actually started. Okay, so I went to orientation. I was so excited. I think it was in June of 2016, because I had graduated May 2016. Uh, so orientation, I decided to sign up for nursing. I was interested in nursing, but I really felt like, let me just do it. My family was happy I chose nursing, so why not, right? So I went to orientation, and they signed me up for math modeling, chemistry 1101, um, philosophy, and I think those were the three classes that I was taking. Okay, so I didn't really think anything of it. I'm just excited to be at a university. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I feel like my life is about to start, going from a strict parent in school situation to, now I'm free, even though school was only like 25 minutes from where I lived. But okay, so I went to chemistry the first day, and I just felt in my heart that I wasn't gonna be able to do well in this class. We had an exam, a quiz, like a pop quiz, the first day, and I failed it. Actually, I didn't pass anything in that chemistry class ever. Not one time, not even with a 70 that whole semester. I ended up making a W in philosophy because me and the teacher really didn't see eye to eye. We had like a little project that we had to do, and he was like, if I were you, I would drop out now because you're probably not gonna pass. And I was just like, wow, who tells a student that, But hey, I dropped out because I believed him. And I made a D in my math modeling that semester. The teacher, I couldn't understand his accent. I did go to help class, but I really wasn't motivated, and he wasn't really motivated to give any extra help, so that was that. So I met with my school counselor, and he was like, I think you should change majors. I think you should do interdisciplinary studies instead of nursing because they're not going to accept you. I mean, this university, you know, thousands of applicants, and I think they only accept about 50 or 60 people. And so I was extremely discouraged. And I was on academic probation going into my second semester. And so my second semester was a lot better. I made two B's and a C. I took psychology, I took a some sort of speech class. It wasn't specifically speech, but it was under that umbrella. And I can't remember the other class, but I made 2 B's and a C. Okay, so coming that summer, you know, I'm excited. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back. You know, I had a lot of distractions that semester, which if you want to know what that's about, I'll make a separate video. I had a whole lot of distractions that year, that freshman year, but I was determined to come back and do better my sophomore year. Well, that summer, my mom was like, "You're not going back to the university." And I was just like, "Yeah, I am," because, you know, like, I know I lost hope that semester, but I'll be okay. Like, I can get it back. So, yes, I am going to go. And she was like, "No, you're not." And I was just like, okay. You know, so I'm thinking time is moving on, you know, coming to a close, summer's coming to a close. I'm like, okay, she's just, you know, she's just upset. And my mom was claiming me on her taxes, so it wasn't like I could get a student loan without her. You know, like I needed her to co-sign on a loan to go back to the university, and she knew that. And so, you know, August is coming around. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's serious. I'm not going back. And so I had a classmate of mine who actually went through a dental school, and she became a dental assistant, and she worked in an orthodontic office, and she was excited. I mean, she had even moved out on her own, and that's what I really wanted. That's what I was craving at that time. I wanted something that was fast, that was going to make me quick money, and I was going to be able to move out because I was over, like, living at home. You know, I had a whole freshman year by myself, to myself. I was able to do whatever I wanted to do. Now it's coming to a crashing end just because I lost hope. That's what was going through my head back then. And so I signed up for the program, the dental program. It was 12 weeks. I completed that, and I did about 80 hours of an externship, and I hated it. I just found out very quickly that that's not something that I wanted to do. So I was just like, okay, my family was like, you have to do something. You have to find something. You got to find a job. So I applied to about 20 dental offices. No one wanted to hire me. It was like, they felt like even though my school was accredited under the state that I'm in, they just saw 12 weeks of dental assisting, and it was just like, no, she doesn't have a degree in it, or, it's just not eligible, is what I felt like they were saying anyways, because no one called me back. I mean, 20 dental offices, I was going crazy. So at this point, which I didn't know until, a couple months later, but come around January, I'm not in school. I told my mom I'm not going back to school. I'm a dental assistant. I'm going to find a job and I'm going to move out. This is what it is. Forget nursing. I'm over it. And so January 4th, I received a letter in the mail from my loan officer saying that I have to pay my loan back because I had been out of school for 6 months. And I was like, no, I just went to school. And they were like, no, that doesn't count. You need to go to like a technical school or university. So I signed up for classes January 6th, and I was in school. I was like, you're not going to be, taking money out of my account. And so I decided to go the LPN route. So I researched a couple schools and tried to see what their prereqs were. So I was like, okay, I have psychology. I have all of my Englishes, which I didn't mention, but I took dual enrollment senior year. And so I knocked out 2 of my Englishes, and I knocked out English 1101 and 1102. And so I made A's in both of those. So I had my English and my psych. So I was only missing about 3 classes. So I decided to take all 3 classes online and take my T's that March. This is 2018. So I take the 3 classes. I made an 82.7 on my T's in March. And I did pretty well in my classes. And so I was calling around to schools, and one lady, which to this day, I don't know her, I can't find her anywhere. She was like, why don't you apply to the RN program here at this technical school? And I was like, because I'm not qualified. Like, I don't have my math, and I don't have any of my sciences. And she was like, well, you made an 82.7 on your T's. And I was like, so what? There are people who are way more qualified. And again, remember, My nursing GPA when I left Georgia State in 2016 was a 1.7 GPA. Well, I think it had moved up to like a 2.3 after that semester, but it was still pretty low. I mean, there are people who are way more qualified. And in this program, you had to have a 2.75 to even be considered, to be eligible. And so she was like, well, why don't you take an AccuPlacer saying that you're supposed to be in college algebra? And she was like, if you make a 67 on it, that means you're going to be placed in college algebra. Just take it over the summer. And, you know, they could conditionally accept you. She was like, it's only $25, and the worst that they could say is no. You know, so I thought about it. I talked to my mom about it, and I prayed about it, and I was just like, okay, let me just do it. But I'm really focused on the LPN. At this point, I had given up on the RN. And I knew my LPN GPA was going to be extremely high because, like I said, I had an A in English, a B in Psych, and the rest of my classes, I think I had 3 more A's and 1 B, so that landed me at like a 3.6. And my RN, you know, GPA was just trash. There was just no way I was going to be able to get in. And so I applied, and I kept emailing the nursing director, and I was letting her know, you know, I took the AccuPlacer test. I ended up making like a 76 on it, which, whew, I was so happy about that. And I was like, look, I'll take sociology during the summer. I'll take college algebra. I'll take another speech class. Like, I'll do whatever I need to do. And I emailed her. And so we didn't get we weren't going to know if we were accepted until the end of June, beginning of July 2018. And that's around the same time that I took the test that I needed to take to get into the LPN program. I found out that they didn't take the T-score at that time. They had a specific test specifically for that program at that school. So I had got, excuse me. So I had gotten off of a 12-hour shift and drove straight there. It was about 3.5 hours away from my home. And I passed that specific test for the LPN program by 1 point. So I was just like, okay, you know, this is what I'm gonna do. You know, I just didn't think I was gonna get accepted. I mean, there's just no way. And so over the summer 2018, I took 4 classes, and I worked about 30 to 40 hours a week. I took a sociology class, a humanities class, a speech class, and college algebra. Now, again, the speech class that I had took in at the university, I didn't think that it counted. So I just took the speech class just to get my GPA up, you know, because I knew it sucked. And so about July 1st, I got the acceptance letter in the RN program. Like, I got the letter. And so I called. I was like, do I need to give y'all my social? Like, are you sure me? And they thought that was like the funniest thing, but I was like extremely serious. I was like, you have all of my transcripts. Are you sure? Are you talking about me? And so I got accepted. And that summer, I had bit off a little bit more than I could chew, and I ended up making a D in college algebra, which, if you know, I made like a 68.60 something, and the teacher wasn't willing to budge. Like, there was nothing that I could do. I had walked in there with an 84, and my final was so low that it dropped me 16 points, you know. So I called my nursing director. I was crying. I was like, should I still move? You know, I made a D, and she was like, okay, it wasn't an F. So when you get down here, you need to take college algebra. So I decided to take college algebra with the same teacher in that city, and just took it online again, because I felt my logic back then was, well, since I had already taken him, I should know what to expect, right? Yeah. I shouldn't have did that. I should just took it at the technical school that I was at. And so I was taking fall of 2018. I took microbiology, human anatomy 1, and college algebra. Okay. I would never recommend that. Like, ever, 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 ever. ever, never, ever, never, ever, 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 ever. Like, I would never recommend that to anybody. But because I didn't have any of my sciences and I needed to retake my math, that was the only way that I would be able to start fundamentals in pharmacology in January. So 2019, and my class graduates May 2020. Okay, so I ended up finishing, and I made a C in college algebra, and I made an A in micro and an A in human anatomy 1. If you want to know how I studied or how I did that, just leave a comment below. But I was making this video just to let you know that you can do it too. If they close the door on you, the front door on you, go through the back door. If they close the back door, go through the windows. If you really want something, you will make it work. You will make it happen. Go up to the school, talk to the nursing director, talk to the nursing director's assistant, see if you can meet up face to face, explain your situation, let her know what's going on. If you have a low GPA, try to score a little bit higher on the TEAS test, or ask the nursing director, are there any other classes that you can take to get your GPA up? Do what you need to do, because don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something. The only way that you won't be able to achieve something is if you stop and you just sit back and you just let it go. You know, I really wanted to, in the beginning, I didn't really want to do nursing, but when my great aunt was in the hospital, she was actually at Emory, in the neurology department. I was looking through the window and I saw the nurse there, the nurse that was taking care of her. I saw how she was like wiping her face, wiping her lips, talking to her. Even though my aunt was unconscious, she was talking to her. She didn't know that I was there either. The nurse didn't know that I was there. But she was talking to her. She was like encouraging her. And throughout that whole period, it was the nurses that was making my aunt feel better. It wasn't the doc. I never saw the doctor that whole month. I never saw the doctor. It was the nurses. Like, they were the one that was making sure that she didn't have any bed sores. They were the one that was moving her, that was talking to her, that was encouraging her. And that was so fulfilling to me. That caught my attention. That made me want to do that for someone else's family member. That gave me peace. That gave my aunt peace. You know, that gave my aunt confidence to be able to get through what she was getting through, you know. And so that's what really spoke to me. That's what made me really want to be a nurse. And if you can't do the university, you know, go to a tech school. Apply to the tech schools that's around the city that you live in, or even if it's a couple hours out. Just because you don't go straight to the BSN doesn't mean that you're not an RN. Okay? When you get your ASN and another person gets their BSN and you go to a hospital, y'all are new graduates, y'all are starting off at the same level. You don't always, when I say if they close the front door on you, I feel like they closed the front door on me in the BSN program. So I went through the back door, which was the ASN program. The back door isn't any better than the front door, and the front door isn't any better than the back door. But this is something that I really wanted to do. You know what I mean? So obviously I give all thanks to God. It was definitely him. But just stay on top of it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. Trust me, because if I can get into an RN program with a 1.7 GPA and there was no hope, according to the people at the university and friends around me, there was no hope, you know, and I had given up on it, then you can too. That's all I wanted to say.